What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Collective Comics and the Lights Comics Action Podcast. This is episode 2, and we have our homie Zack right here.
I'm Zack.
I'm Zack. Dude, I wanted my name to be Zack for like most of my life.
Dude, I actually like my name a lot. Like a lot of people,
hate my name.
A lot of people are like, I would change. Bro, it's funny that you said that, right? Wait a second, because everybody at our job always thinks I'm you and you're me.
Yeah.
So you're like, you get to vicariously live as. Dude, it's actually vicariously, but everybody always says vicariously for some reason.
I don't know the difference. So
yeah.
But yeah, like there was literally one day the system was down, so I couldn't clock in, and we talked to our manager. I'm like, hey, I didn't get clocked in yesterday. The system was down. So he comes in the next day. He's like, well, I got clocked in yesterday. I didn't work yesterday. What's going on? I'm like, they clocked you in instead of me, dude. Like they don't know who we are. Like,
dude is like 3 inches taller. We should do like a stand up next to the cam. So like, we don't look particularly like we are larger bearded men, but you are a tall man.
And our hair color is not the same.
Not even close, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you guys both have glasses, you know, so like if you were to verbally describe you, but the second you're like one has like red hair and one has dark hair, like
I got salt and pepper. Like if this isn't
there you
on,
go.
I got so much gray through here, dude. So.
I think you had shaved at the time too. Like you didn't have a beard.
So the beard didn't even apply.
No, dude, I clean shaved for some reason. I can't remember why, but I did.
Wow.
So anyways, we're getting into Black Adam.
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna get into Black Adam.
The
But
podcast. Great.
First, real quick, I do want to introduce your podcast.
Yes.
So the podcast that you're from and everything. Go ahead and
oh,
go
dude,
for it.
yeah. If you guys want to check me out, if you end up liking me after this or whatever, check us out on. I think it's at Your Other Podcast anywhere. That's where you're gonna find us. We'll be on Spotify, everything. We got a YouTube. We got mostly TikTok is our biggest one, but yeah, it's just at Your Other Podcast.
I'm always checking out the TikToks. The TikToks are funny, man.
Thanks, dude.
I love the part where it was like, we need your comedy, the other dude's voice, but the other dude's camera. And like
Jose killed me with that. He came up with that one day. He calls me. He's like, bro, my content is what got our highest views. Trinka has the best podcast voice. And he said my look, your content, and Trinka's voice. So it's like you write everything, and then we'll just have me lip syncing with Trinka talking. And I'm like, we should do that. It's just a short. No, he was dead serious. He wanted the whole podcast to be. I was like, bro, you are blowing me out, my guy. This isn't gonna work,
bro. You guys need to do like a snippet podcast or like a 5-minute podcast or something. Just talking,
or just a short, or like a movie, or
dude.
I'll funny.
Yeah, if we just do a movie review, it's just Jose, Trinka's voice, my comedy mixed in. Boom. We'll see how it works.
But you guys have kind of like a general podcast. It's not
we
necessarily
just literally talk about anything.
Whatever you guys want.
Yep.
It's pretty funny. Some weeks you guys, I'm literally driving in my car by myself laughing.
It's good shit.
It's pretty funny.
I'm glad.
Super relatable.
I'm glad the homies like it, dude.
But we all three of us went to Black Adam last night.
That was last night. I had all of my fingertips
right
at that time last
night. When I met you last night, you did have all of your fingertips.
One day later, I'm just missing one. Wow. And dude, so by 10 days from now, I might not even have it. I might have like 2 fingers left. And you're gonna be like, I don't even recognize this guy.
You're just gonna be missing the whole finger.
Every day is just a little bit more of the finger until you lose that one, and then you just start working on another finger.
Yeah. No. But Black Adam, dude. I want to start with saying I have no idea what the fuck Black Adam is. I didn't even know it was in the Shazam world, you know? I thought he was just DC and his own thing, but then, I see the lightning bolt and stuff when the movie starts, and I'm like, oh, this is somewhat related to Shazam, So I was like, okay, cool. And from there, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this because I didn't like Shazam really that much. I thought it was fine.
I didn't think very much of Shazam.
Yeah, and but I will say I fucking love The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, dude is in anything. I love it. Dude, even that schlocky movie. You guys ever seen Rampage? That one? It's off a video game.
Isn't there like a big white gorilla or something in that? Or?
Yeah, it's literally just made from a video game back in the day called Rampage, where you would just punch buildings and you try to do the most damage, and there'd be 3 of you on screen. You're all like breaking buildings, eating people, and it's just a super fun game to play.
I have to watch that movie now.
Yeah,
like, I've never seen it, but
the whole movie's just about a big lizard, a big ape, and a big. I think they did the wolf. I can't remember. There's like 4 characters in the game. There's a rat and a wolf, and there's 3 of them were done in this, and it's just them causing carnage the whole time. It's awesome.
Carnage is Marvel.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So back to DC. Sorry, guys.
But so is Ant-Man and Storm.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh,
Ant-Man and
yeah.
Storm were in this one, dudes.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
we did also see the Shazam preview before we saw the movie. So that lightning bolt, like, we saw it in the preview, and then it starts off with the Shazam thing, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay.
So I knew immediately.
We could make those connections.
Yeah, because did
just
you
from
not know
that.
either?
I didn't know the Shazam thing. He had told me
okay.
a little bit about the Shazam.
I knew a little bit just from comics and being a DC fan, and just kind of trying to figure out. I remember when Shazam was coming out, and I was trying to figure that whole thing out. And Black Adam kept coming up, and then along with Black Adam was Atom Smasher. So those three kind of were always somehow integrated down the lines.
I have something to say about Atom Smasher.
Okay.
What the guy who played Atom Smasher was like Mark Ruffalo's son or something, dude. Like, was I tripping, or when I said that to you, I turned and looked at you. I was like, dude, I keep thinking he's about to turn into the Hulk, my guy. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
He literally looks like Mark Ruffalo if he was like 20 years younger or 10 years younger.
The second you said it, I just couldn't unsee it.
Yeah.
I was just like, yep, there it is. There it is.
So that was weird, and I had no idea based on how the show was going, like, because they don't show you their powers till later on. I'm like, spoilers, by the way, for anybody, but I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
100%,
big spoiler.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
episode.
I'm wondering to myself. I'm like, okay, Atom Smasher. So he's gonna make explosions. Like maybe he like claps really hard and shit explodes radioactively. Like that's gonna be cool. And no, he actually just, I guess, manipulates his atoms to
Right.
grow bigger and then smashes things. And I was like, that's a little on the nose for me. I would like.
I didn't know anything about Atom Smasher either, and the first time they said it, I thought it was just a play on words. Like, he's gonna smash Black Adam, like he's gonna fight him, like because it's Adam ATOM and Adam ADAM. I was like, this dude's about to just beat up Black Adam. That's what he thinks.
Nobody ever enunciates that T, dude.
Oh, no.
They're both D's for some reason.
Yeah, TikTok got me on that one. I commented something about Atom Smasher on somebody's post, and then somebody else totally came in and was like, I don't know if my autocorrect like changed it automatically, or maybe I was like talking. I don't even remember exactly. I just remember seeing the reaction to it and just being like, they were correcting me, and I felt ashamed.
So what happened? Did it like correct it to like ADAM Smasher?
ADAM,
Atom
exactly.
Smasher?
Yeah, because
That's
I
so
probably
funny.
said Atom Smasher or something. That's what I
Right.
think I was doing.
Yeah.
I was like driving or something around lunch break, trying to be quick about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, got you.
yeah.
Really did.
So I think I was the only one that kind of knew the little bit that I knew about.
Yeah, going in for sure. I didn't know. I pretty much knew Black Adam existed because of the trailers, because The Rock has been talking about him.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
that's
he's been plugging it
yeah.
and doing a great job at it.
Yeah. Also, wait, I was blown away to find during the previews, I think it was, that Rock has a TV show as well. I was like, wait, there's a TV show? What?
I found it out. You knew about that.
Yeah, I've been like trying to watch it for like the last few years because it's what did they say? Season 3 is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like, oh, I want to watch that, and I just never watch it. So I knew it was there, and then I think you turned to me and was like, I didn't even know this was a thing until like a week ago, and then all of a sudden I hear Zack, The Rock has a TV show.
Rock has a TV. Like I literally almost got up and was like, "Can you submit?" I was hyped as dude.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man. So I mean, how do you guys want to start? You want to like start breaking down the TV show, the movie from like the beginning, or like do we want to get first like, what did you guys think of the movie?
I want to hear what you thought.
Well, now I'm curious.
A cold call to everything.
Now I'm
pretty
curious if there's a really old school Adam or Black Adam TV show that's horrible. And you just everybody's
Probably.
like, dude, that's not the show.
Like from the 60s?
They're gonna be mad. Anybody who listens to your podcast, that's not the show.
It's
dude.
Adam West
You
with a
don't know
T.
about it. Yeah.
Black Adam West.
I actually loved it.
Right on.
I actually absolutely loved it. Casting wise, I like it because I like The Rock. The guy who plays Hawkman. That's his name? It's just
Yeah.
Hawkman. We were talking.
You
about
asked
that
me
last
that in the
night.
movie too. I was like, yeah.
Well, I'm like, that's so weird, but it just doesn't seem right when you're saying it. But yeah, it was in a show that I love from back in the day. So immediately I saw him. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. Obviously, I still don't know the dude's name. I just know him as Helmet Wizard guy in my brain.
Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate. Okay, they said his name for sure, but they never. I always thought they were just talking about Fate when it was coming up. And I was like, these guys are weird. Like,
I feel like that's one thing that I feel like DC's so on the nose with their names too. It's like Batman, he's a Batman.
Yeah.
Hawkman, he's a Hawkman.
Yeah.
Batgirl, she's a girl under Batman.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like, I was like, you could have got a little more Aquaman.
Yeah, but then why Robin?
Yeah.
Why
Robin?
Why Robin then?
Yeah.
That's where things just fall apart for me.
Birdman. I think Birdman was taken or something. Birdman was taken by Marvel or something. That's probably what it was.
Could have been Bird Boy, which at least has alliteration.
Right, man. But I noticed that because like we've been doing a lot of the DC and Marvel stuff, and I'm newer to the comics too. Like I always kind of knew about them and catch them here and there. But now that we've been doing this, I've been like going on deep dives, and I read a comic every week for book breakdown. And I'm like, how like they could have been a little bit more creative with his name. Like even Superman is like, this is a man that has superpowers.
He's super.
Like, okay.
This guy is very super.
The Joker, he's a guy that tells jokes. All right.
Now that would be great.
The Riddler, a guy who tells riddles.
The Joker isn't as a spot on the nose because he'll also just horribly murder you.
Yeah.
But then to him, that's a joke.
And it's hilarious.
Yes, that's hilarious. He's like, you're dead now.
But to him, it's a joke. He's a Joker.
Okay, he's just telling himself a joke.
Yeah.
You know, it's at your expense.
Like the Riddler, the guy who tells riddles. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. But I mean, they also made these names up in like the 50s.
Almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, DC was the earliest of ones.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to, bro, I think like Mr. Freeze. Like, they're all just very.
And then what was his real name? His real name was it's Mr. Freeze, but Doctor. Now I'm losing it.
Whoop.
Yep, whatever. You know what?
Dude, Doctor Now I'm Losing It is a crazy name. That's a
good one.
crazy
The three of
name.
us,
That's the Joker.
That's the three of us just
Made a
invented our first character for our comic book.
Yeah, Doctor Now I'm Losing It, dude.
Doctor. Now I'm losing it.
Like, he's just always performing like very important surgery, and he's just like, starts freaking out.
Just falls
What
backwards.
is wrong with this guy? This is the worst superhero. I'm here to save it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Back to the movie, though. Again, the characters, or at least the actors, I really enjoy. I like a lot of them that were in the movie. So I was like, okay, this is cool. And I really have no idea if the place that they kept was Kundok. Is that the town?
Yeah.
Is that a real place?
I don't know.
Yeah. See, the whole time I'm like, is this place real? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
That's another thing I was thinking about because I feel like
Metropolis isn't
Marvel
real.
does like New York City, Chicago, and then like I feel like Gotham is fake, like Metropolis is fake.
Gotham's definitely fake.
Like I feel
They're
like
fake,
I feel
but
like
they're in a
DC
real world, like
Yeah.
Prime Earth. You know?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
like Gotham is kind of like after like a Chicago, like New York kind
Yeah.
of vibe,
Yeah.
and like Metropolis just feels New York to me, you know, stuff like that. So like they're based off of real world things, but they're not real places. Where
Yes.
other than like Wakanda, I feel like Marvel is very like real world.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of too for not real world and Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then action packed pretty much. It wasn't like boring. Even when they were giving you exposition, I thought it was pretty. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like this. And here's the thing, guys. Let's be real here. A lot of the DC ones have been stinkers. If we're talking about DC movies, people like the Marvel movies, but the DC ones don't do as well. And I think that has a problem with pacing. The pacing in some of the DC movies are slow. Like somehow the Justice League movie, not the Zack Snyder cut, feels slower than the 4-hour Zack Snyder cut. And I don't even know how you possibly could do that.
Yeah.
So it's a pacing issue in most of the movies, but I felt that in this one, when you're getting exposition, it wasn't bad. And there was a lot of action in there. And I'm an edgelord. We'll just say that to start with. So I like that dude was not afraid to just kill someone. It's like, we're not getting Batman where it's like, oh, I got to put him in jail or, you know.
Not that he's
like,
a villain, but he's an anti-hero,
yeah,
you know, type of thing.
He just is like, he has, you know, morals and stuff. And he's more so leaning toward doing the right thing, but he doesn't care how he gets to his end result, which to me is efficient. That's not like Batman. It seems very inefficient to me. It's like, dude, how many times are you gonna fucking catch Joker? But I get it, but like if I was Batman and this is IRL, I'd just kill him. I'm just like, dude, then I don't have to deal with him anymore.
But then he'd lose his best friend.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But
I do know
that's like a whole big thing.
Yeah.
They both will not kill each other.
Yeah, but
it'll never happen.
Yeah, but just
there is no Joker without Batman.
Even
Joker
if you kill, Ivy or Riddler, you get rid of a couple of those guys, you have a lot easier time. Like,
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I
just
don't
kill
know.
all his henchmen, and you'll be all right. You know?
And he had to kill somebody just as collateral damage at some point. With like how many times in a comic does his jet get shot down or crash or his car crash? It's like he didn't accidentally kill someone. Then come on, dude.
When Batman first started, he used to carry a gun.
Really?
Issue number 1, he carried a gun.
I do like that.
He carried a gun. He used to kill, and then when little comic history.
Okay.
When like the Comics Authority,
they
I know what you're talking about.
They kind of filtered everything because everything was getting weird for them, and it was a whole different time. So they were like, "We're not going to let Batman kill anymore," and that's when that started being a thing, and then it never happened.
And then they were like, "People don't want to see this; they want to see this," and then we get like the jokey Batman and
and you get Adam
the soft Batman, and
that's what they wanted. That's what the time wanted. It was weird.
I like the what is just like clip art style words coming in between. And then you're like, what? Yeah, like bring that back. Like put that in anything.
Every onomatopoeia, right there. Say that 20 times fast.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I really liked it actually. I went in thinking I wasn't gonna like it because I haven't liked very many superhero movies, and I thought it was pretty chill. And it's not like I don't think superheroes are cool and stuff. It's just most of the time, like, they just didn't hit with me. Obviously, I love the Avengers ones. Those are awesome. Those are sick. And there are a couple. I think Iron Man 1's pretty good. Like a couple of the other ones are super good. But there's been some stinkers. Like I remember my brother would come back.
The hits.
I remember my brother would come back and after every Marvel movie he saw, it doesn't matter which one it is, bro, that movie's sick. God, that's why.
What did you see?
It's like that's why it's hard for me to love any the Marvel movies, even when I go with the lens that I want to like them, because of people like my brother who will just like it just because it's Marvel. I'm like, dude, I get it. You like it. But also objectively, you have to know that it was a very boring movie for like 90% of it. They just didn't do a good job writing the movie. Yeah, I love the character, but the movie wasn't great. That's not what happened here.
We talked a little bit earlier, and it's like, I feel, or I don't know, maybe I'm getting this wrong for you, but we said that like Marvel is like kind of losing interest a lot of people, and DC's really coming out and being like, hey, we can make good movies, check them out. Like,
and
I feel like they're really
DC's really
capitalizing on like on the Marvel kind of falling off in a lot of people's minds, you know? So, I mean,
this might be the start, my guys.
I hope that we end up after this is all said and done and we just get good Marvel movies and good DC movies.
Yeah, because they're competing against each other, right? That's what you need is some. If DC keeps sucking, then Marvel can just do whatever they want. And that's kind of what's been happening. The DC movies weren't, received well. And then the Marvel movies are like, we can't do any wrong. And then they just start putting out shit that's like half baked. And I'm like, And then DC's like, now's our fucking chance. Like, we got to take it seriously with these next couple. So
Marvel took it like we're good by default.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Who was going to tell them they weren't?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody was touching them.
Exactly.
And I was saying this a little bit earlier too. Is like how many Batman? Like we've seen the Batman origin movie how many times? Like we saw an Iron Man origin movie, and now we don't need to see that anymore. Like get us to a different point.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of origins, so I told you last night in the middle of the movie that I had goosebumps at a certain point. And I was wondering and going into this the whole time, so because of the comic books, and I was trying to figure out exactly what his origin was, just so I kind of knew before the movie. And it turns out that I found out that DC has rewritten his origin 3 times. Yeah. And we got all 3 of them last night.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It seemed like a lot.
There was 3 origins there, and there 100% was. And that's when I was like, they did it. I was like, they did it. And I was everything that I wanted and expected it, because everybody's like, are they going to go with the 3rd one, like the newest one? And I'm like, probably, and they did. Yeah. They intertwined it a little bit and made it to where that's his origin.
Yeah.
But all 3 are now his official origin.
Because we got to see that his kid was Black Adam first, which I assume is probably one of the origin stories. Then we got to see that his dad became one, which I assume that's probably the newer one. Is that the newer origin story? That
we saw him in order.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when they reveal it at the end, that's when we knew. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked at him and I was like, dude, I got goosebumps. I was like, I'll tell you later. Like, I was like, I'll tell you on the podcast. Like,
oh my God. You guys just reminded me about one of the parts that was where my whole brain imploded. I was like, wait a second. When dude is in the main bad guy, I forget his name, but he's the guy that turns into the demon, has the crown. They're in, or wants the crown. He's got the kid, and they're in that bubble shield of Eternium that he put up. Mm-hmm. That didn't wrap all the way around him. So I was like, dude, The Rock could just go around and bust through the wall on the side. We've seen him. He literally is busting through walls the whole movie. It's like he literally is the Kool-Aid Man incarnate throughout this movie. He's just busting through walls, dude. He's just like, I'm here, So
the part where he's like, did you guys not have doors? And he's like, yeah, that's how we entered rooms.
That's how we entered
rooms. But he never
enters
the room.
I guess you don't get sarcasm. No, but to me, I was like, dude, he just can go around and just bust through the rock on the side. That you could clearly tell that it was only in front, the bubble.
Yeah.
So I was like, and that's why I liked when later in the movie when we saw it, they did the whole bubble when he locked the demon in, because I was going to be like, don't show me another front-facing bubbles where dude could just go out the back. Like, what is happening? But yeah, I think it was that's just I get anal with my movies, so sometimes I'm like, there's
a hole. I found it.
Like, what is this, dude? Just you didn't even have to do any of that shit. Just make it a circle around him. Like, that's the easiest part. They just got lazy, I think. But it didn't take me out of the movie too much. It was just I immediately wanted to start laughing because I was like, I thought at super speed he was going to bust into the side because he moves at like Superman speed, at least it seemed like, because they had him slowing down through the movie and then everything happening in a split second. So I'm like, this guy's stupid fast. Like,
he was grabbing bullets with his fingers.
He's like flash fast. It seems like, maybe he's not fucking running so fast he goes back in time and shit, but I mean, he's fucking fast. So I thought he was going to bust through the side. I was immediately thinking, and then it's like, no, they just have a button switch and they just turned it off. Like, what? What is happening? Like, because they were negotiating, right? So he's like, he just turns it off. And I'm like, the second he turned it off, I was like, he could just be in there killing that guy right now. So that whole part for me seemed not. That was one ham-fisted part. That's the only part where I was like, if he's moving as fast as he's been this whole movie, the second that shield comes down, that dude's neck is snapped and this whole thing is over. So that's why I was really confused during that whole part. I was like,
they nerfed him in that moment.
Yeah, in that one moment. I was
for dramatic effect.
Yeah, it was for dramatic effect. But I mean, I think it would have been better if the other guy just had his powers already or something at some point if he's going to be behind a force shield. Because now it's like, okay, maybe that dude's fast too. But this is just a regular human who The Rock has been literally straight up rock bottoming and freaking, now dude, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Anybody who's a normal human has been getting dumpster fired the entire movie. Like, they literally, it's a joke to him. So I was like, the second that drops, he should kill him. But I understand they needed to do it for the movie and they wanted to do the origin story. So,
and they had to make him bobblehead, The Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it because it was so awkward to me, but I was like, I felt like that's exactly what he would look like if The Rock was skinny and bald.
I think they needed to drop the just take the corners of the head and just shrink them down a little bit.
Yeah. What you're telling me is on their Skyrim slider, they put the head up just a little too high.
His head falls. He falls forward.
They also used perspective because they shot over the shoulder of they shot over the shoulder of Hawkman when it was happening, right? Was that who got him to do it? He was standing there after dude died. Yeah. He looked super small because it was coming from over the shoulder of Hawkman too. So I'm like, this is unbelievable. I just know The Rock, and seeing him like that was more unbelievable than him having superpowers. So I was like,
you believe The Rock would have superpowers before he's skinny.
Yeah, you've never seen The Rock not just look jacked. So I was like, this is unrealistic, my guy. The Rock is jacked. Everyone knows that.
That's the part that's unrealistic.
Yeah, I was like, they botched it, dude. The Rock's jacked. This whole movie's falling apart for me.
I believe the entire movie happened in real life except for The Rock being skinny.
As soon as I saw that The Rock wasn't jacked, I thought it was a movie about like a true event until I saw that The Rock wasn't jacked I was like, okay, this can't be real.
The Rock's just a god, you know.
What did you think about the movie overall, Javier?
I loved it.
I know.
yeah, I need to.
I absolutely loved it. I was
You came out
so
the
hyped.
theater going off.
Giddy, dude.
Yeah, I was screaming, not full on screaming, but I was hyped. I didn't want to leave because I was like, they're gonna drop something else because they had that big drop.
Yeah,
The Rock apparently spoiled it. I still refuse to watch it because I'm like, now I know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything to me now. I've seen the movie. So.
I called it though. I knew it was gonna because it happened in the comics when Superman came in.
Do you think he spoiled it on purpose or accidentally spoiled it?
I think
No,
I think he
dropped
made
it
an accident, but it was on purpose.
He dropped it on a night show, so like it happened. Like he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, but I mean, you know, when you're just talking and then you say something you shouldn't. Like, I wonder if it was that or if he truly meant to do it the whole time.
I'm sure just to get people in the theaters and
Well, he's trying to. His claims are like he is gonna change DC. He is gonna be the next better Batman, Superman. He's gonna be the next biggest hero type of thing. He has some big, bold claims.
he's like, I'm going to fix the entire DC universe.
Hey, I'm just saying, isn't it the dude from Marvel? Is it Batista? Is that the guy who plays
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. If he could be a superhero, dude, he's nowhere near the like personality that the freaking Rock is.
Yeah.
Rock,
Well, his character doesn't have personality either.
Yeah, which is the other thing about the Rock in this one is I don't think they were able to utilize the Rock as good as a personality as it is because Black Adam is very one note. He's like doesn't get a lot of things and he's just right. So imagine the Rock as more of a charismatic superhero, and I think he could kill it. So I'm not saying that he can't also do this because I think the Rock is a pretty decent actor
and
too.
he did it.
Yeah, and he did it. I think I think he could be even better in a role where some of his personality can come out and he could be, you know, a more flashy superhero because it just seems like Black Adam's just a badass, which is cool to be as well. But The Rock has some personality to him, and maybe it'll come out in the next movie. Maybe he starts to get it. That's what I'm hoping. Cause
That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I mean, I think they're going to put it together like that. And the one thing that I didn't like, and I know they're two separate, you know, Marvel and DC and stuff like that, but I saw the humor in the movie starting to happen where, especially like in the first Thor, they made Thor obviously from another planet, so he doesn't understand this planet.
Yeah.
You know, and in this one, Black Adam was from 5,000 years ago and trapped in a tomb, and he doesn't know anything about where he's at. His home doesn't look like home. He doesn't, you know, he's in the same spot, but it looks so different.
That's what I was going to say too. Before this movie, he was in a tomb for 5,000 years, and now the next movie he's going to be on Earth for a while. So he's gonna be more acclimated to society, I think, a little bit. But
my thing is that I feel like he's going to get acclimated way quicker because he already has. And they already said that in the beginning of the movie. Yeah. So I kind of predicted that a little bit. But then he was getting sarcasm at the end of the movie. He got the catchphrase down.
Yeah.
He's getting the things of being human down in this
and
day.
the kid was kind of like, well, I can teach you to be a superhero. So the next movie might be him helping him become a personality, and it'll be funny. Yeah. And you know, The Rock, to be honest, he's in a lot of movies where a kid is plays the role next to him, you know?
Yeah.
That game plan.
And they're pretty funny. He's got some good movies like that. So I think he's good opposite like a kid or something. He'll make it work, you know? Because he's a very
Hart's
goofy
the same
guy.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing. It's like the same.
Kevin Hart is a kid.
Yeah, that's
like
why
he's the size of a kid.
That's why he loves acting with kids, dude. It just reminds of his good buddy Kevin Hart.
Yeah, dude. Kevin Rock, man.
Kevin Rock.
That's just going to be the duo now. But I love the movie, and as I was saying, I don't think it's going to take 4 movies and still like Thor did, and they're still making those humor jokes that he doesn't understand, that he's he's not from here, and yada yada yada, and they're still making those jokes, and it's just annoying now. And I don't think they're going to do that. And I felt like Love and Thunder was a lot of humor, and it was too much.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say when you brought up Thor too. It's like, I feel like they clowned on Thor at the beginning, and then I feel like Ragnarok was my favorite Thor movie, and I think they did a lot of the humor good in that movie. And then Love and Thunder, they started clowning on him again. It's like, because in Love and Thunder you almost got 2 Thors, because he was just like a complete idiot who didn't know anything, and then he was serious like kick-ass Thor. So like, is he serious or does he not know anything? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So pick your Thor. That's my opinion. It's like
hot take.
You can have the humor. I like the humor, especially like a lot of the Ragnarok humor and a lot of like their one-liners. They do it with all of them. Like Tony Stark has one-liners, Cap has one-liners. But like, why does Thor just sometimes he's just a complete idiot? That doesn't just for humor. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, he should be ignorant of our customs, not just an idiot. And it seems like sometimes they just make him dumb. It's like you guys ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
You notice how Kevin starts out not that dumb and gets dumber, or it's vice versa. One of the two. At some point, they make it like he's just a complete idiot. Yeah. Whereas in the beginning, he's just like a pervy fat guy that's kind of like on the dumber side. Yeah. But then he's like, dude, might as well be a mental patient. It's like, why are they like, how's he even have the job?
Where he tries to just use like 3 words to do whole thoughts and stuff. It's like, this is, but I mean, that's funny as hell. That was funny.
Yeah,
some of it's funny.
He's not there was no reason. Dumb. He was never that dumb in the beginning. And
he's also not a superhero. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's like they like doing that type of stuff where
maybe he got some mental condition, and then behind the scenes he got it worked out, and
maybe I just
brain
think
tumor or something.
I think it's lazy writing, which is exactly what was happening with Thor, right? I
was just trying to give it some backstory.
Oh, okay. I'll yes and you next time, my guy. That's my bad. But I just think that they just get lazy with the writing, and then you have where they think that they're one-liners that are hitting. Oh, it's just because it's silly and he was being dumb. No, it's because it's also relevant to something that he might be dumb or ignorant to. You can't just make him dumb sometimes, and that's funny. That just makes him look like a fucking idiot. He's supposed to be the fucking God of Thunder and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Especially. That's my biggest problem with like Thor is like it can happen in like seconds. Like in the same line almost. He's like really serious, knows exactly what he's saying, and then all of a sudden throughout the line he's like and then he's like, I'm gonna kick their ass. I'm like, I just got 3 Thors in one line. Like, how does that make any sense? And then like when I don't know if you guys have seen Love and Thunder, but when he's like when the Guardians of the Galaxy are leaving, and he's just that whole scene like drove me crazy, and he's like, I don't know, that they took it too far in my opinion on that one, and they can do it well. They've done it well in my opinion, but they just need to figure it out. I think I don't know.
And I feel like what DC is doing differently is they're still taking that same humor that it hit. Yeah. It hit for a minute, but then halfway through the movie, I'm done. I see another goat, I'm done.
But it's also just like. I like the one-liners. Like you can drop a one-liner just randomly and have it hit, be funny, sarcasm, things like that. Or where like back to just the Thor thing is like they made it like a character trait, and that's not a character trait.
No.
You've told me in previous movies that it wasn't. You know what I mean? Because in earlier movies, he's figuring out everything. He's figuring this out. He's getting smarter. He's figuring out Earth, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden in the 4th movie, he doesn't know anything about Earth. Like, cool.
Exactly. They kicked it backwards. Yeah. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
But I feel like he's already past Thor.
It could be use. It could be one of those cases where they used the reference material. We just had him being dumb in that particular story. I don't know. Is Love and Thunder an original story, or does it go off one of the older comic stories? Because a lot of these are references back. So
they're all references back, but they change it, and that's what people get mad about. Okay, they change it so much, and then it's just like this is a total misrepresentation of what the real story was. And then when it flops, people are mad that they overspent when they were buying a book because this had so much hype behind it, and then they butchered it. And because I don't think that the MCU is taking the time to really think out these stories. They have too many holes in it because they're just trying to push it out so quick.
Okay,
and,
I see.
And with DC, they take their time. I mean, they've had a couple of movies get cut and be shelved and things like that. We're not going to see quite a few things from DC, but I mean, they spent a lot of money, and honestly, if they're going to put out a movie like this and cancel the other ones, if that's what that means, then more power to you, because you just put out a banger of a movie, and the worst part about it was The Rock being on a skinny body. Yeah. That was the worst part about the movie, and I'll take that any day.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was for seconds, my guy.
That's what I'm saying. And I thought it was kind of funny to see The Rock being skinny. I'm like, that's something I'll never ever see.
Yeah.
I also feel like Marvel, especially with the Secret Wars thing, and I feel like they probably started with Endgame. They're like, here's our goal. This is what we're working towards. And then they're like, how do we get there? You know what I mean?
Because they have so many holes.
Where I feel like DC is like, with this, it seemed like, all right, our goal is Black Adam, Superman, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
All right, let's figure out this. Okay, now we'll figure out from there. Whereas like when Marvel was like, we're going to put this huge movie a year from now. We need to introduce 40 characters between now and then. How are we going to do it? Here's a TV show. Here's some characters. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think you can introduce or get people excited about those characters that way. And if you're going to do it that way, just put out the movie now and just show us those characters randomly, because you didn't give them the origin that they deserve, or you didn't get me excited about them. So I'm almost less excited for them at this point than if I would have just seen them pop up on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like, especially with She-Hulk and all the stuff we talked about last week, it's like if we would have just got Secret Wars and She-Hulk would have just showed up and be like, oh, She-Hulk's in this. You know what I mean? Cool.
You got it.
And then
you know it.
But now I'm like, She-Hulk's going to be in Secret Wars now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. So I don't know if like they bit off a huge chunk and then they're like, how do I digest this thing?
Yeah.
Whereas like DC, it seems more like DC's just like doing the fast little nibbles off the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like both of them are going to get to the end of the cookie at some point, but it's just like Marvel seems to be choking on their huge bites. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I fully agree with that. And I don't even know if they're choking as much as I truly think that it was hubris. Like, we could put this out and people are still going to go see it. It doesn't matter if it's not the greatest thing that's out there. And then I feel like they weren't doing that in the beginning. Like I said, the first couple of movies that I saw, all the good ones, they were on a different level, you know?
Yeah.
And when I saw some of the later ones, I was not impressed. Like, I was like, so I really felt like they were either getting complacent and thinking that they could do no wrong, and then just putting out something bad. But I mean, it could also be what you're saying, where they're just like, we're putting out so many movies, we've stretched our arms out so far, and now we're just trying to figure out how to wrap up all these stories. We have a million storylines going on, and DC is like, we're just going to start Black Adam. Like, we don't have nothing going on, really, guys. I mean, we've done a Justice League movie and like a couple Batman movies over and over again, but here's Black Adam, I guess. And it's like, that's cool. I hope they take time and release movies slowly and don't get excited about the hype and the money and start just putting out anything and just,
and,
you know.
And they're proving not to, you know, because Batgirl got canceled. Mm-hmm. That was one time that we're supposed to see Keaton as Batman again.
Oh, I love Michael Keaton.
Me too. I'm a huge 89 Batman fan. I love it.
I'm a Beetlejuice fan.
There you go. Yeah. Beetlejuice is great.
Yeah.
And then I lost my train of thought.
Oh no!
They're putting out better movies than they. Regardless,
no, you were talking about them
of
canceling Batgirl.
Regardless of how they're getting canceled, it seems like they're just not willing to put out crap just to put out crap.
Yeah.
Because they fully shot Batgirl, spent like $50 million doing it, and then went, we can't put it out.
This movie's trash.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a licensing thing or what, but that was one time we're supposed to see Keaton, so that was going to be huge regardless.
Yeah,
you know, and then Flash, that is shelved, as we know right now, which we don't know if it's fully canceled. We just know that it's going to be later.
You know,
I don't think we're going to see Keaton again, and that upsets me a little bit. But by them not doing that, they put out a great movie, you know, and are continuing to put out great movies. The Batman was great. The
I
Joker,
did like that a lot. Yeah,
the Joker with Joaquin
my god,
Phoenix.
no, Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, dude, is amazing. Love that movie. Love it.
They're killing it right now.
Yeah.
And the MCU is in trouble.
Yeah, I will say for my money, I did. Of the three movies, I liked Black Adam the least of those three you just said, but I do think in general, I think The Joker is a good movie, regardless of if you even look at it through the lens of a superhero or supervillain movie. It's just a good movie. Like, so it's hard for me. That was probably that year, that was like one of the two best movies I thought that came out. So it's like, it didn't even matter if it was a superhero movie. It was just 100%. Great. But what that reminds me is what you were saying is, I feel like it's pretty smart for them to cancel the Flash one, because that's one of their shows that had done well. They've already kind of been telling the story of Flash on TV. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, do something different, get people more into, you know, I understand that you could take your key players and make movies and people are going to go see them because you're like, oh, it's Superman. Oh, it's the Flash. Oh, it's, you know, whatever. But also it's like, I never heard of Black Adam, and I only went to the thing because I hadn't heard of Black Adam. Like, if you guys were like, hey, come see The Flash with me, I'd be like, probably not. Like, you know, but I haven't heard of Black Adam. Let's see what this guy's about. You know what I'm saying?
If I was inviting somebody to The Flash, I probably would have been like, hey, let's go see Keaton as Batman again.
Okay.
You know, like that's what that would have been my invite. You know,
But they've been. I feel like I've watched more DC shows. I mean, Marvel has a lot now, but in the beginning, I think that's what they were doing, right? They were. What was it? The Flash. What was their other one that was really big for a while?
Green Arrow.
That's one.
like the CW shows.
Yeah. They were doing a lot of, and I thought their stuff was good on there. Like I liked that
Gotham
stuff
a lot.
Oh, Gotham's
that's
great,
not canon.
but that's not canon.
It's not.
But Gotham's great. But either way. I feel like with the shows they were doing good, and maybe I don't know. Maybe if with the Flash being canned, maybe it was just like we've been doing the Flash for a while. Let's do something different. But I really don't know what their thought process is behind that. But I do know that the shows were good. So
I thought the Flash was supposed to open up multiverse stuff, and we're gonna get to Earth 2 and things like that, and that's what I felt like they're going to start opening up, and I still feel like they can get there.
Yeah, I mean it's been a million seasons. I feel like now. That's
what the movie was. I feel like going to start opening up, and they're going to start telling that with the movies, and then we're going to get one of my favorite stories. Exactly, the 3 Jokers, Bat Who Laughs, stuff like that. You know, all these different Batman. There's a story like the Multiverse Who Laughs where Batman doesn't, or Bruce Wayne doesn't become Batman. He becomes Robin, but he's like a whole anti-hero. And like is like a villain and trying to take over the world and getting vengeance his mean, nasty way. And he's Robin doing it. It's cool.
That is cool.
I was excited. But
the one issue that I do have, like, I feel like with this one, DC put themselves in a situation like I felt Marvel was in at the beginning, where they're like, okay, here's a Captain America movie. Okay, here's a Captain America movie that actually takes place before that Captain America movie, but after that other movie that we put out 3 years ago. It's kind of in between those two, but next year we're going to put out another Iron Man movie that takes place then, you know what I mean? Like now you have to like go, like Disney Plus added a thing where you can watch them in like timeline order.
Chronological order,
But like that's where I was getting so confused, and it was like, all right, so if I go see Black Panther, where does that fit in the timeline? And now I feel like they're actually on a timeline building up to something where, like, I talked to you about this, like the whole Amanda Waller thing confused me. The girl from Peacemaker was in the prison that they handed Black Adam to. So like, okay, so we just got Justice League, but Justice Society, you said, was supposed to be before Justice League. Right? So, but now we got Superman from Justice League. So, and then Amanda Waller is the Suicide Squad people, but we've already had Suicide Squad movies with her in it, but they're in the same universe because it's the same actor. And then we got the Peacemaker tie-in with the girl from Peacemaker, but now she's in a prison. So did Amanda Waller get her from there for Peacemaker? Does Peacemaker, because like they're all obviously all in the same universe because it's all the same actors. It's all like if they did Amanda Waller, but it wasn't the same Amanda Waller, and they did a Superman, but it wasn't the Justice League Superman, I'm like, okay, they're building a new universe. They're working towards this. But since they use all the same actors just kind of scattered throughout the movie, and this is supposed to be before Justice League. So now,
I don't know that 100% before Justice League.
Yeah. But even if it's not before Justice League, then Peacemaker was after Suicide Squad, where you get Amanda Waller building Suicide Squad teams, but now all of a sudden she's building a hero team, and then the Peacemaker is after, you know what I mean? Like, that's where, like, okay, so where in the timeline are we, and why do I have a character from a TV show that's after this movie, but Superman comes from this movie? You know what I mean? That's where I start getting confused, because we've said it before, like I'm the timeline, I'm like the tell me the story guy.
Yeah.
Where like you're like the comic book, I want to get the big Secret Wars, I want to get the big payoff. Like I'm like the build up, tell me a story, like give it to me gently kind of guy. You know what I mean?
That's
give me dinner,
too, dude. That's me too.
You know, and
I like seeing the key issues come to life on the big screen. And give a good representation.
I love them too. I love Endgame. But I want to understand why you did it the way you did it. I want to understand like where this character came from, and that's why I'm so bummed. like I loved She-Hulk, but you really spoiled that for me because like now I don't care about her getting to that big payoff. You know what I mean? Where like this is just repeating from last week. Whereas like Moon Knight, like I want to see that whole story now progress, and I want to see, and it's the same thing. Like I liked Black Adam. I want to see where he's going. But with me having to think about where in the timeline he's coming from, and like that's things I don't want to look at as a viewer. So like I want to be able to sit in a movie and be like, I don't want to be doing an equation in my head the entire time because I want to enjoy, you know what I mean? So like as soon as the Peacemaker lady popped up, me and my wife were like, she's from Peacemaker, right? It's like, okay, so how did she get here after Peacemaker? Because the Justice League shows up at the end of the final season of Peacemaker too, and they're all together. So this has to fit. You know what I mean? It's
Justice Society and Justice League. I'm pretty sure the Justice Society in the comics.
Yeah,
that's what the Justice League was at first, and now I need to figure it out 100% because that's the one that I don't know. I don't know too much about how they transitioned, but I know they're associated. And if it's the same team under a different name with different heroes type of thing, because now Dr. Fate died.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to get Wonder Woman. You know, now are we getting into Justice League? And now that's going to happen. And Doomsday happens. Like, is this before Doomsday kills Superman?
Yeah.
And, you know, like that's the couple questions that I do have.
And then it's like, because like for me, the big thing was the Amanda Waller thing because the animated movies I've seen with her, she's doing Suicide Squad stuff. The other movies I've seen this Amanda Waller doing, she's doing Suicide Squad stuff. In Peacemaker, she's like corrupt and stuff like that, and she's doing Suicide Squad, and she's trying to screw over everybody. So as soon as I see her in this movie, I'm like, okay, she's putting together a Suicide Squad team to take out Black Adam, and she's trying to screw somebody over. And then all of a sudden, it's like, these are heroes. She's putting heroes together. Why? I'm so confused. Who's Amanda Waller? Like every other time I've seen Amanda Waller in an animated movie, comic, she's always corrupt and screwing people over. But now she's putting together heroes for some reason. And those are like the things that like mess me up as far as overall. I really like the movie. I can't wait for another one. But it was just like those little timeline things that like because for me, it's like I feel like it's kind of an immersion thing because like I'm watching the movie. I can't wait to see what's coming next. But now you made a timeline thing happen in my head, so now I'm out of the movie and now I'm like thinking, you know, now I'm missing part of the movie and I'm not in the movie like I was, and you know, it's hard for. I don't know if it's hard for me, but it's like you messed up that like couple minutes of the movie for me, and it's like. I feel like there's certain things that can happen just to make that a little smoother. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but there definitely could be things about Amanda Waller that I don't know from older comics, or, you know, stuff like that too. But
I felt the same way actually when I saw her. I was like, wait, I thought this chick was bad.
Yeah,
because in every movie I'm like, what's going on? But I think she might be on the good side, but she's like I'll get it done by any means necessary type of person.
Yeah.
So she'll do bad shit if if it's in the name of whatever she's doing. So,
but then I felt like because in Peacemaker and the good Suicide Squad movie, she's acting really selfishly. You know what I mean? So
she straight up gets knocked out.
Yeah. So
like I don't know if she died or not.
Like, she's like going against the people that work under her. She's like trying to screw over the whole team. So like it was really selfish of her. So it's like, is this before that? And she just hasn't kind of let people know who her, like what her true colors are kind of thing? Or is this like, she still has a day job she has to get done. So this is like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
those are just like little things for me. Other than that, my favorite two things about the movie were when he ripped the dude in half.
Yeah,
like
obviously, sick.
That was
pleasing.
Like that was the one part of the movie I was like, oh yeah, like finally.
We all made that noise. We're just like, whoa.
I was like, yes, sir. I was ready for it.
I didn't know anything about Cyclone going into this, and I still don't really know anything about Cyclone, but the way they did her powers with the colors and the clouds and the way she was manipulating the wind, and like that was being like
way cooler than how Storm does it, just floating in the middle of a tornado.
Right. And you're like the way those colors moved around her in slow motion, I liked that. Like from a visual point of view, I guess.
I think it was like trying to show that the just the atmosphere and wind around her was being manipulated so that the colors that she was wearing were getting blurred different directions behind her just based on. So you're supposed to believe that the wind speed must be insanely high if it's blurring the color because the clothes must be moving so fast they're blurring, you know, because it was always colors she had on that were being blurred, which I thought was super cool. And
other than that, I mean, like I said, I love the movie. I want to see another one like tomorrow if I could, but this wasn't a movie or a situation for me that like made me rush out and like buy an action figure or I know you probably disagree with this because we talked about it at the comic shop earlier, but like I wasn't like when I saw Black Panther, like I wanted to go buy a Black Panther like pop character. Right. Or when I saw Moon Knight, I bought Moon Knight comics. When I saw Nightwing for the first time, I was like, I love Nightwing. That's dope. I want like all of the, you know what I mean? I'll take anything Nightwing. This was a great movie. It made me want another movie, but not like from a collector's point of view. Like I just want to see more of what they're doing because I think it was really good.
How many stars out of 10 would you give it?
Probably, I mean, I don't have any reason not to give it like a high rating. Probably like an 8.59. Really, like it was a great movie.
That's exactly
like,
what I was thinking, and I loved it.
From like a like just watching movies, like I love watching movies, and that was a movie I'd definitely watch again and again. You know what I mean? It's one of those where like Black Adam 2 is going to come out. I want to watch this one leading up to it, you know? So there's some of those movies is like the next one's coming out. I'm not watching the lead ups because I've seen them enough. I don't want to see them again.
Don't need to see that again.
Yeah. Like I'd definitely watch this one again.
I'd give it an 8. I give it an 8, which I think is, for me, I'm normally super conservative on what I give. So I think it was just a fun movie to watch. It makes me want to look a little bit more into Black Adam because again, like you said, he just didn't give a shit. He beat the hell out of everybody, and it was awesome to me. Like ripping a man just in like a devil man in half. Like seriously, dude,
that was amazing.
The way they did it, and you saw his face through his face too.
I feel like I believe The Rock could do that. Like that's why I was like, oh yeah, The Rock could definitely rip a guy in half, no problem, dude.
As long as he's not skinny.
Yeah. Don't give me skinny Rock. And so yeah, I think overall, awesome experience going to I haven't been to the movies in a long time too, so like that was just cool getting out to the movies. So I was like, good to see a good movie, and it was just a fun experience. And I'm always in for showing more of the true violence. Like we talked about The Boys as we were walking out, like with the real shit that happens when a superhero hits a not super person. I feel like this movie really showed you that when someone likes a Superman, because to me it seems like Black Adam is like the anti-hero Superman almost. Like he's about as strong as Superman, but he just doesn't give a shit. And so for me, seeing what happens when a person like that just has complete disregard for the enemies they're fighting, the scale, it just shows you how much stronger even like a not Superman level superhero is compared to a regular guy. Yeah. Which this movie really showed you that, which I think is cool.
100%. I loved it.
What was your rating?
Mine's a 9 out of 10. You know, I'm like right there. I just knocked it for those couple things. And then once you pointed out the Amanda Waller thing, I was like, that's like the hole that like, I was like, that's the only hole.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, that's why I like,
other than that,
as a movie by itself, 100% great movie. Those timeline things, like if it wasn't,
trying to connect, it's
if this was the first movie that I'd ever seen out of all of these, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The movie itself was super good. I could go to this movie not knowing anything about any of the DCU and still really like the movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I like things like that, like Arcane. I don't know if anybody's seen Arcane, but that was a League of Legends show that was on Netflix, and you literally needed to know nothing about League of Legends, but that show was so good and stood on its own. Yep. I think this was the same thing. Like, if this was your first DC movie, you're going to a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're not going to tell your friends, hey, man, don't go to that Black Adam. You'd be like, dude, I had a great time. You might want to go see The Rock pop off on some guys.
Yeah.
I might have to ask a couple homies, like, hey, you want to go see Black Adam just to go see it again?
Yeah.
You know, like, I would
definitely go see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem seeing it again. It's just a fun time. Like,
So what are you guys doing tonight?
I literally was just thinking, I was like, I might go after this and see it again. Not going to lie.
I did have something I did write something down in the theater to talk to you guys about. Okay. So let's see what it was, because I don't know if what it was. Am I right? Oh, look at the first one, dude. Just
go around.
Just go
There it
around.
is.
That's the first thing. It says
You hit
attorney
that, yeah.
shield. Just go around.
That's hilarious.
That's literally all it says. And then the other one was young Mark Ruffalo. So
Right.
I guess I got to all of them.
you
but I was
got
just
to all of
dude,
them.
I remembered.
Those are good points because
Yeah,
you
it's
remember
literally
them.
just young Mark Ruffalo. I love
crazy.
my notes are always so funny because they're like one or two words that make me remember like a paragraph
Yeah.
of what I was going to say. So it's always just looks like shorthand garbage when somebody looks at my podcast notes are so funny. You see everything's misspelled in the wrong place. There's like random like breaks and stuff, and you're just like, what is all this? But it's funny.
I feel like I was gonna write notes too in my phone, but we used my phone for the camera.
So it
stuff.
wasn't gonna work.
So I was like, I'm just gonna hope I remember it. But it was like the Amanda Waller like Peacemaker tie-in.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even make sense? Kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I mean, we nailed it even without our notes, man.
Yeah.
High five for sure.
It's almost like I do a podcast every single week
Right.
for the past like 7 or 8 months, dude.
Yeah, check
It's
out
almost like that.
your other podcast.
Oh,
course.
nice segue, dude.
you know,
Crazy.
You can check out your other podcast.
I was repping the merch today, dude.
Ooh,
That's your merch?
Yeah, this is
That's dope.
Yeah, this shirt's actually super sweet, dude.
Really?
Yeah, we don't make
That's
them
dope.
on this shirt anymore, which is why I wanted.
Aw.
So if you got one, you would get a crappier shirt. So I wanted you to be jealous if you got a shirt.
I'm going to be very
How do you
jealous.
get the legendary shirt?
Yeah.
No, this was
I'm gonna
before
pick
we
one up.
had a store up. My buddy just made these
you
because he
should
just
just tell
wanted to have
people
them.
this is the host shirt. Like
Yeah.
only
Oh, yeah.
hosts-
Only the host can wear this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, actually, it was my buddy's shirt. He showed up to the house one day, and he doesn't live in Indiana, guys. He lives in South Carolina. So I was not expecting him to be there. He showed up an hour before we were going to record. We used to record at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Shows up in my house at 7. I'm just in my underwear in bed. He's like, "Hey, dude, you're late." And I'm like, I literally thought I was dreaming because why would I see this guy?
Yeah.
He lives in South Carolina. And then that's when we set up and we got our biggest, and that's when one of our biggest videos hit. But that was so crazy, man. It was like we had an hour to set up, and normally we're all separate. But because he was there, we decided to just have Jose come over. He only lives 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we had to do a live one there, which is what you guys do all the time. This is awesome. We have to do it over Discord and all this other bull crap to get it to work, and then we splice it together. But being in a room's a whole different feel, dude. It's great.
Oh yeah,
It's fun. I like it.
We've noticed because I mean this is only our 3rd podcast, and we do 5 videos a week now, and like our back and forth just because we're in the room together is just been like it makes it almost feel like we're not recording a video. You know what I mean?
And that's how it should feel most of the time. Yeah.
Like we did a pull list the first couple weeks. The first one we didn't even put out, but like the first week it was just you, and it's just really like I'm talking to a camera. I'm in my head about it kind of stuff. But now like just kind of going back and forth, like the vibes are so much cooler, and like it just makes it more enjoyable to just hang out with your buddies and you know
Bounce off a friend, dude.
Yeah,
like,
make
you know what I'm
content.
saying? Exactly. Dude, that's just what my whole life is, you work with me. I just try to laugh. I like laughing, dude. So I like making my friends laugh too. So I just figured me and my friends talk about all this stuff anyway, all the time. I'll just record it. And now that's what you guys are doing. You're like, we go and see these movies, talk about it, and we're hype about it. Let's just record it, dude.
Exactly.
And that's how it starts, dude.
Right.
like this.
That's how it
It does not feel like we've been talking about the same movie for an hour. You know what I mean?
and
It's been an hour.
It's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I love it, and I want to keep going. I wish we could. You know, I mean, we could a little bit, but not too much.
I mean, you didn't really bring up too much about it, but I know you did bring up that he spoiled Superman, but you were so stoked when you knew it was coming. You were
That's
like,
one
oh
thing
my
that
God,
I
oh
did
my God,
wanna
oh my
hit.
God, oh my God.
That was one thing that I did want to hit because you hit it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
When you said it almost seems that he's the strongest Superman. And
Yeah.
he is literally in the comics. DC presents Superman, Black Adam, Shazam.
Uh-huh.
Black Adam has the ability to be able to hit something and punch with somehow, I don't know if he gets the crown again or something like that, but when he's wearing, I think, the crown in this issue, he has the ability to be able to punch with the weight of a planet. So like it's like getting punched by a planet with his fist.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
And he knocks out Superman.
Your finger got punched by a planet earlier.
Yeah.
Yikes. You know what it makes me, and this is a question I think gets asked all the time, but you know what it makes me believe? Because you just said the power of a planet. I feel like Krillin can punch with the power of a planet in Dragon Ball. So like, what is the power of like Vegeta or Goku's punch at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
is this universal at this point? They could blow up the universe if they hit too hard? Like, I don't even know.
I don't know exactly, but in that issue, I looked it up this morning after seeing it, and I'm watching all the books on eBay double in price.
Oh, okay.
Because of this issue, and that's what happens with these movies because nobody really knew that the Superman thing was going to happen. I was kind of hoping that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then once I saw,
he told me one day, and then the next day you came over and you're like, yo, it's going to be Superman. I'm like, so it's got to be Superman. Two people in 2 days have told me about Superman.
And I'm surprised that you even predicted that.
Mine was a blind guess.
That's insane because you didn't know anything about it.
No, I didn't even know it was the Shazam world. I just knew it's DC and like it's The Rock. And in my brain, I'm like, if this has anything to do with The Rock, like in his eyes, like if he had any say in this, he's going to be one of the most badass superheroes that exist or anti-heroes or something. And so in my brain, I was like, the only person that should be able to touch this guy has got to be Superman. So that's why I was thinking it had to be Superman.
And he's stronger than Superman.
But
he's the only one that's been able to knock
But tell
Superman
me
out.
why when she was like, we're going to get people from another planet, I'm like, Thor.
Yeah. Wait,
It was like a split second. Well, you were talking about this last night too. It's like, because we've just been doing so much comic book and movie and TV show stuff. It's like the characters start to blend. And like, I'm like, at one point I was like, that's going to be Moon Knight's going to do something. I'm like, that's Marvel.
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Thor, that's Marvel.
Yeah. Once you get into the deeper, not main couple big heroes from either side, you can find a lot of guys that are very similar and that could feel like they could come from DC, or come from Marvel on the other side. That's why
Ant-Man, Storm, and Falcon.
Yeah, exactly. For a fact that, Spider-Man is Marvel. You're never going to mix that up. But Moon Knight could be like, that guy could be DC. The story feels more dark. It's not like a, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's new to a lot of people. It's new to me. So like realistically, it could have just not been Marvel or DC, but it happened. It is Marvel, but then I see something in DC, and with it being that new and that recent, and I'm always looking for Moon Knight stuff everywhere now. That like I just want it, I'm like, this is gonna be a Moon Knight Marvel cameo.
I knew that Moon Knight was lit because my buddy has had comics forever, and he was super stoked when they said the TV show was coming out. He's like, dude, Moon Knight, he's like awesome Batman, and I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, dude, like he's like badass, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But one of the things I wanted to say while we were still on the topipic was, and I think I just lost it. It was going to be good, guys.
Should have put the note in your phone.
Yeah, no.
Superman?
No. It was. I think it was going to have to do with just. I was going to ask you guys. Now I remember. Good.
Good.
Because I remember from back in the day, do you guys remember just buying your first comic? Because I don't collect comics now, but when I was younger, I did have comics. And I remember going to the comic store for two things. One, Magic cards. That was the primary thing, because I still to this day play Magic the Gathering. And then I got into the cheaper comic. They'd always have like a 25-cent bin or 50-cent bin. Well, back then it was 25 or 50 cents.
I remember that.
When I'm 10, so this is like 22 years ago or something. So at this point, I remember my first couple of comics that I bought, and a lot of the ones I had were not Marvel or DC.
Indie comics.
No, they were Image Comics. But yeah, that's an indie, but Image Comics. So where Spawn comes from and all those guys.
We got Spawn up there, dude.
Do you guys know Shadowhawk? That was the first issue of anything I ever bought. He's an Image Comics guy. He's like Batman, but he kills people. He literally is in a black suit, and he like jumps from, he doesn't have any like real powers. He jumps from rooftops with a cape and stuff. Just straight up Batman, just a guy who can maneuver buildings well. But he's got like talon-y things on his, and he'll just slice people up, bro. And he's like, doesn't give a crap at all, Batman. And I just remember as a kid that making me want to read more comics. And then I actually bought some DC and Marvel comics and realized there's not nearly as much blood as in the Image. So I like Image Comics quite a bit. Is what I was trying to get at there. But you guys remember you're picking up your first comic books?
I do. You want to go first?
Mine's not as exciting because I didn't have like a comic book shop around me. And I didn't read. Like, I was a horrible reader as a kid. I couldn't finish books. I couldn't start books. Every time I did, I lose interest. But I think it was my oldest sister got me Calvin and Hobbes one year for like Christmas or my birthday. So I actually read a couple Calvin and Hobbes books, and then I pretty much stopped reading again for a long time. And then just like being in music shops, you just see like random music gear in like random stores, and it's usually buy like the collectible stuff. So I just see a title or something that I thought was funny, and I just pick them up. And then like recently, because Jungle J is my DJ name, and I just found a bunch of Jungle Gyms for $1, so I just had to pick up a bunch of Jungle Gyms. That's kind of just how it always happened for me. And then it was pretty soon. I don't know the word. It was right before you and I had started really deep diving into a lot of this stuff. For some reason, I just started going and picking up comics and stuff. It's probably like the Moon Knight stuff and stuff like that. I was like,
so very recent for you.
But it was also like Magic stuff. So like I'd go get a new Magic deck or something, or go grab a booster pack, and I just grab a couple comics because I thought they looked cool. But right before COVID, like probably like 2 weeks before everything shut down, me and my wife were in Orlando, and I was just like walking around while she was in a class, and I just stopped at a collectible shop. I always stopped and looked at everything, but I'm just not a reader, so I didn't pick them up. But then I'm like, I make the decision. I'm gonna start reading more.
Conscious effort.
And then we got stuck on a plane when we were in Texas, and I was like, I want to read something. Like we had to wait like 7 hours for our plane because it got delayed so late,
bro.
And that's when I picked up I Hate Fairyland, book 1. And I had actually picked it up on our way down there. And my wife stops at every Barnes & Noble that we see. And I was like, I want to pick something up. I picked up I Hate Fairyland 1. And I was just kind of like waiting for it to get ready or like before bed or something. I ended up finishing the whole book in like one day. And then I'm like, I need I Hate Fairyland too. Like I need to see more. And then I finished both books. And that's when the Moon Knight stuff happened, because I started going looking for books 3, 4, so on and so forth. And now I have like an addiction to Scotty Young somehow.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't start buying Scotty Young stuff because I like how it looks, not even knowing it's him. And now like I'm getting to the point now where like I bet that's Scotty Young,
Yeah, yep.
And it's always like really cartoony, which is like my style. Like if I draw anything, it's super cartoony. I like the live actions and stuff like that, but I also like if you got a cool animated anything, I want to watch it. Anime, like you're way more into anime and manga than comics a lot of the time. Ugh, what was that?
Hiccup.
It was like I didn't breathe that whole time, and then my body's like, there's all the air you need.
Get some air, dude.
But yeah, so like that's kind of where it started for me. It wasn't like I never like went out collecting comics. It was like I grabbed one here, I got a comic book there, I got a graphic novel here. When The Umbrella Academy was on Netflix, I loved the show, so I picked up all the books just to have them on my shelf and never read them.
I have book 1.
That's where like my collecting kind of came from, is like I see something I like, oh, this is a book, I want the book on my shelf kind of thing. Like never like dove into characters too often. But I grew up watching like the animated series of like Spider-Man, Batman, like all
Batman
that stuff.
Batman Beyond, so sick, dude. Batman the animated series lit too.
That's probably why like I'm like the books are cool and I like reading them. I love the art. That's what got me into Magic too, is the art of the card.
Oh, Magic by far, it has the best art of any card game, and it's not even close, dude. Like the people they pay to do the artwork, like these guys are nuts, dude. Like some of the stuff legit could be up somewhere in like an art museum or something. You're like, what the heck, dude? This guy put a lot of work into it.
Yeah. So it was always like a visual thing for me, and with not being a reader, it was always movies, shows, cartoons. And it was really big. I know a lot of people might get mad about this, but like I was in like elementary school, early middle school when all the Harry Potter books were coming out.
Yeah.
I was like, give me a movie, dude. I'll watch the movie any day over the book. And
I never read Harry Potter. I saw the movies first too. Yeah. I had like pretty severe ADD growing up and was on Ritalin and stuff. So it was super hard for me to sit down and read something. Yeah. So it just wouldn't happen. Like, yeah, I mean, you see me at work every day. Even if I'm like looks like I'm not doing something, I'm probably like singing a song or doing something. I just can't do one thing at one time and just sit still. It just doesn't really work.
My wife is always like, because we'll be watching something, it'll be like talking about ADD, and I'm not diagnosed and I don't know if I have it or ADHD, any of that stuff. But anytime somebody's like, so this is what your brain is like on ADHD. And she like looks at me and she's like, is that what happens to you? And I'm like, yeah, every day. Like, how does it not happen to everybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, because every time she's like, oh, what are you thinking? I'm like, nothing. She's like, actually nothing. I'm like, if I told you what I was thinking, you would get lost in my brain just like I am. You know what I mean? So like, it was always, even like the early comic books I picked up, I would just look at the pictures. I didn't even read the word bubbles or, you know, anything like that. It was all art, all visuals. As far as content, that came with movies, cartoons, stuff like that. And
piqued your interest more.
Probably watching all those shows when I was little, like the animated and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was probably like those seasons that got me so addicted to like this. Okay, this season 1, here's your timeline. Okay, season 2, this is the timeline. So that's probably what built those stories and wanting to see like the whole thing laid out in front of me instead of like, here's a movie, here's a movie, here's a movie. Like, I just need to see like everything laid out, and I want to see the art. You know what I mean? I want to see. Yeah. I want to see the editing. I want to see the storytelling. I want to see all of that stuff. So in a long-winded answer, my first book was Calvin and Hobbes, and I do remember it, but it's not actually a comic. It's more like a graphic novel comic.
I mean, it's in the funnies and the so it's kind of like a comic.
Yeah, it's a comic, but it's not like the comic that we're talking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
But yeah,
my guy.
What's your first one?
Mine. I remember the first comic book. I don't remember what issue it was. First comic book I read, first comic book I bought, and then the first comic store I went to, which was kind of like years apart. It was weird.
Okay.
And it happened, but I was really, really young. Do you guys remember Bone?
You have to be
the Bone books.
No,
I've never. I don't even.
They're graphic novels. I mean, they have issues.
I just thought of like skateboard bearings when you said that.
No,
Bones bearings.
Bone is a cool, very cool. It's more of a kid's comic book. It kind of taught me how to read a comic book. Taught me how to read almost kind of in general. That with that book, I realized I can't do it if it's a paragraph. That's when I realized, I understand this. Like I have very bad ADHD and ADD, so I can't read a book like that. You know, I mean, I can now, but I have to force myself to do it and read the page 5 times. You know,
no, rereading the page sucks. I do it all the time. It's like you think you missed something, so you just go back. You're like, wait, I feel like I might have missed a sentence, but I don't know where. Crap, let me just go back. And you're like, because you just get lost for like a split second. Your brain pops off what you're doing, and now you're like, wait, where did I stop reading? Like your eyes were still reading, but your brain just stopped comprehending for like 2 seconds, and now you're like, I guess I'll start at the top of the paragraph again.
Yep.
So you end up reading the same page 3, 4, 5 times.
I hate the one where, I don't know if you guys do this, but I'll read like a line, but my brain or my eyes don't move to the next line, so I start the line over, and I just like end up reading this line in a circle, and I'm like, I feel like I've read this before. It's like, I do it all. I did it earlier when I was writing the script for one of our other videos, and I did it to myself. I just read a line. I'm reading the line. It's like I said something too many times. I'm like, I'm reading the same line over and over. I don't know.
You need to give yourself the double spaced. So maybe it's easier for you to see the distinction. You're like, they're too close. The lines are too close, my guy.
I need to get one of those, like a piece of paper with one line cut out so I can just move it down every time.
Yes, dude, there you go. Yeah,
it sounds like that would help all of us.
You need wide rule,
just like
not college rule,
used to help me legit.
Oh yeah.
I'd
take another piece of paper
or something. Yeah.
Take another piece of paper or anything just to kind of keep you where you remember where you were reading.
This is something we need to get you back to your comic, but before we pop back in there, guys, something that's crazy is, okay, so we can all read a comic now, but you kind of do have to learn how to read them because it's like the blurbs are in certain spots and stuff. Now imagine you're reading a manga and it's completely reversed, and it gets very confusing sometimes when I'm reading because I'm like, wait, am I here? Because you're reading left to right, not right to left, or right to left, not left to right in a manga, and the blurbs do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I showed you the book I'm reading, Berserk.
I showed it to him earlier.
Yeah, dude, the panels in some of those are crazy. The placement, like this guy he will not give you the same looking panel page ever, which I think is super cool. And so sometimes you're just like, where do I start to read on this page? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And
I have to figure it out.
Yeah. So that type of thing too makes it rough, at least for me, for reading manga. But most comic books, if I'm reading a normal comic book, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be easy. I'm going to know where the blurbs are. As soon as you start trying to go right to left, something in your brain just implodes, and I'll find myself getting lost completely.
One of the shops that we went to is one of the first times we went together. I wanted to pick up like some Demon Slayer or like My Hero. I'm like, I open it and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'll get a print of the cover instead. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's Something's Killing the Children that it almost seems, I haven't figured out the pattern yet because now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm realizing the pattern, but it almost seems like every other page you have to read, like the first page, read it left to right.
Yeah.
But you read this one page and then you read down this one page.
Yeah.
And then you flip it and then you have to read across the top of both pages and then go down and read across the bottom and follow the text boxes and stuff that way. And that got me a little bit confused, but Something's Killing the Children is actually a very easy way to read it because then you realize it very quickly, like, oh, that one doesn't make sense. But now it makes sense when I read that one. You're like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, like that was like the whole thing is trying to read a comic book, and Bone taught me how to kind of do that and follow the panels.
Yeah.
And follow.
So you started with Bone as your first one. What was your first true comic book that you like closer to superhero, something that's more
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
It was Spider-Man. Okay. It was shortly after I got into Bone. My school had a book fair type of thing, and they had
Scholastic
book fair, and they had a Justice League and a Spider-Man. I think
Bro,
I
did you
got
guys get a
both
bunch of
them.
free pizzas, dude? Because that's all I remember
Little
about
Caesars.
Scholastics, dude.
I don't remember free pizza.
Oh, you messed up, dude. You
they're
had to
$5
read
pizzas.
books,
You're
and
not
you would
missing
get a
nothing.
free pizza.
Oh, we had to go to Pizza Hut.
party.
Yeah.
We had to go to Pizza
Well,
Hut.
not just that, they would give us a free token. Like every book that you would finish, I could take it in, and if you write a one page and it wasn't double space, super easy. About what the story was about, they would give you a personal pan pizza free certificate, and you could go into Pizza Hut and you
Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
We got my first PlayStation demo disc I got that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were reading. Those weren't big books either. You know what I was reading back then.
The way that my school did it when we were in elementary school is that the classes would compete against each other, like in your grade, and each grade got their pizza party. But the class that read the most books, and everybody's books and tickets tallied together, when they count whose class won out of your third grade class, that's the class who won the pizza party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if everybody's reading and everybody's doing it, and teamwork has to happen.
We had that too, but also individually you could earn X amount of free pizzas per year or whatever.
Now I think it's smart because that kind of feels pretty bad to work really hard and read all these books and not get your pizza. That sounds a little bit smarter.
I was thinking that sounds like a good way to get Billy beat up for not reading a book. You know,
Exactly.
Everybody else read a book and Billy didn't read a book, and Billy got his butt whooped on the
He's like, but my guys, I'm super good at Halo, and you're like, no, dude, you should be reading the Scarlet Letter so we can have our goddamn pizza party.
Right. But yeah, it was a Spider-Man, and then
was the first
you got
comic.
it from a book fair, not a.
No, not a
That's
comic
so
shop.
weird. I don't remember. Are you the same age as us?
He's
24
years younger than us.
Okay, so maybe I don't remember them letting us buy comic books at the Scholastic Book Fair. There was not very many comic books there.
There was the two that were there, and I remember it being a Justice League. I think I got the Justice League, but I can't remember it because I remember the Spider-Man, because at the time, Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, and the first two movies were popping, and I had all the action figures, and I was obsessed with Spider-Man. And that was the first comic book, and that's when I was like, this can be cool. And then I remember having Justice League comic books. I don't remember how I got them, but I do remember my first comic book shop and going through my first 25-cent bin.
Yes, sir.
And seeing all that stuff and seeing all the statues. And that was the day that I fell in love. And then I fell out of it because of music and stuff like that. And
we
then
talked about that too.
But that's a whole nother thing.
I never used to be a person that would buy a bunch of statues or anything like that. But now I happen to have quite a few of just random anime, or I got some Star Wars ones and stuff like that. Yeah. But one of my favorite pieces I ever bought, and I just thought about this because you brought up the statues, and I think you guys will think this is cool. If you know anything about Greek or Roman gods, I think she's a Greek god, but Themis, she is the lady that you always see blindfolded with the sword and the scales.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's Lady Justice. Yeah, I have
That's
a statue of Themis that holds two candles, and she's just there on her seat with her sword and her scales. It's
That is
so
cool.
in bronze. It's this freaking big. It's so sick. I bought it in Salem.
That's
Massachusetts. That's why I was like, wait a second.
That was bought in Salem.
There you go. See, I'm glad I brought the story up. It wasn't that random,
And,
dude.
Friday, we're
witchcraft.
spotlighting Salem witchcraft.
Dude, I brought it around, dude. See, just on accident,
on
bro.
Friday, I'm doing a spotlight of that book because on Thursday, which is tomorrow, when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it when it came out, I'm doing a whole book breakdown of that first book. So on YouTube, you can check that out. And then the spotlights, we spotlight that book on Weekly Spotlight.
Yep.
That's so sick, dude. That was complete accident. I just wanted to tell you because you were talking about big. I was like, the only super big statue I have, and it's actually metal and it's heavy, is just a Themis, dude. And
Did you fly back with it or do you drive back?
Yeah, I flew back.
Ooh.
No. I did drive back with it. I'm done.
How do you get that somewhere?
I'm done. Yeah, no, we drove all the way to Washington, D.C., then we went to Philly, and then we went up to Boston, which is when we went to Salem, and then we came back home through the top side. So we kind of went bottom of the United States, came back home through the top. So we saw Niagara Falls from the New York side because we didn't have a passport, and stopped maybe one other place. But yeah, that was one of the cooler things. We stopped in Salem. I was in this crazy shop that had all kinds of weird stuff, and there's just this statue I kept looking at, and I was like, I freaking need that. I think it was like $260 or something.
That sounds very similar to that story.
Yeah. I just absolutely needed it. I was like, there's something calling out to me. I was like, this is amazing. I love this thing. Like, I need this.
Yeah, that thing was going to end up here regardless. Because if he wasn't getting it, I was going to call the shop and ship it home.
Oh, you were in Salem recently too? Or
I was just in Salem when I was in Boston.
That's so fucking sick, dude.
My wife had that class in Boston that I was gone for like a week. And we went to Salem one day.
That's sick, dude. That's insane.
But anyways, guys, this has been the Lights Comics Action Podcast, episode 2 officially. Thank you, man, for coming on the show.
I'll come over whenever, guys.
Yeah, dude, this has been really, really awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check all the links in the descriptions. Everything's going to be linked in there. We'll see you guys next time.
This has been Collective Comics.